And to talk more about this, I'll call on stage somebody who's more handsome than me, Sir Anuj Sharma.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Manu. Wow, 5 years. Right. 5 incredible years. And of course, as Manu spoke about, a lot has changed. And today, obviously, is a very special day for us, and it is a special month. And I personally also want to thank our extended Xiaomi family, all our fans, right? Extremely important to everything that we do. And over the presentation itself, you will see all those elements coming in. Our partners that are also here today, you've made a big difference to Xiaomi's story in India. And of course, all our media colleagues who help tell this story to the larger people. I'm Anuj, and I lead marketing at Xiaomi India. And of course, today I'm here to talk about a very special product. Now, since we started 5 years ago with the Redmi series in India, this has been in the works. We have been slowly inching up all the way to this day, making this a very special product. In fact, it's so special that we've decided to call it the Alpha flagship. Right? It's more than a flagship, and it is built on 4 key principles. 4 key principles that we believe all our Mi fans find really important. One is performance, right? There has to be absolutely no compromise when you're putting a flagship together. The second part, and this is frankly taking a lot of feedback from consumers, something new for Xiaomi, which is excellent design. And finally, we have a design that actually takes that word flagship to the next level. Third is cameras. Cameras are becoming really important, imaging, and we will talk about it. And the fourth part, which I think is something which is really important, and that is what is giving this Alpha tag, is giving a flagship with absolutely no compromises. I will talk about those compromises as well. But first, let's start with the flagship performance part of it. Now, with flagship performance, we were looking at the fastest chip available for mobile computing today. And of course, no guesses there. Our friends over at Qualcomm have done an absolutely phenomenal job with this particular chip. So the Qualcomm Snapdragon 855. Thank you. The most powerful chip available for smartphones today in the world. And this is an incredible technology marvel. It's built on a 7nm technology process, and it's also the biggest leap that Qualcomm has ever taken in terms of performance on a generation perspective. Since starting Snapdragon 800 series back in 2013, they have been making increments, but nothing is as high a jump as the 855 versus 845, a massive 45% jump. Now, a 45% jump might not really seem too much when you look at the lower segments, but to push the absolute high technology, the flagship part, up by 45 is really hard. I'll give you an example. If man can run 100 meters in about 9.58 seconds, right? That's the record currently. If you had to beat that by 45%, you would have to have somebody run 100 meters in less than 6 seconds. That is so much of a gap that you bring when you're pushing the limits to the next level. And with 855, it's a marvelous job that Qualcomm has done getting you this chip. How does it do it? It's an all-new architecture that they've implemented. It's a tri-cluster architecture for the very first time on the 800 series. What you have is 4 Trio 485 silver cores. Now, these silver cores are powerful enough to handle all your daily requirements, whether it's watching videos, emails, chats, so what you have. However, going beyond that, you also have the Cryo Gold cores. Gold cores handle the heavy lifting part of it when you put games out there, right? And those are clocked at 2.42 gigahertz. And then there's one very special core. It's called the Prime core. And this Prime core is clocked even higher at 2.84 gigahertz. And not just the clock frequency, it also has more cache in it. Now, why do you need this, right? Why do you need this change in architecture? A lot of our apps are still single-threaded. That means they don't really use all the cores properly, and those single-threaded apps, the prime core handles with really great speed, gets them done, gets them out of the way so that you keep moving forward. Your phone will not see a stutter, will not slow down. And that makes it really important, giving you that massive 45% jump in the overall performance. The next part, obviously, for a flagship performance, which is absolutely important for all of us, right, is gaming. And with gaming, again, with the Snapdragon 855, you get Adreno 640 graphics processing unit, and what Qualcomm is terming this as elite gaming. Now, elite gaming gets Vulkan API 1.1. For those people who play games on PCs, you would have heard the words DirectX, OpenGL. Vulkan is like that. However, it has a few advantages. It is cross-platform. That means, yes, it extends to phones. And the second part is it also is a lot more power efficient and handles the GPU and CPU balance a lot better. That means between the CPU and the graphics unit, it balances the entire load so that there's no bottlenecks anywhere. Along with this, this GPU is also very special to us because it's got cinematic post-processing. And why this is important, I'll talk to you about this in the later stages. It's got better depth of field when you're gaming. The 3D graphics have a better depth of field. It's got high dynamic range, or HDR, makes those screens pop. Again, very important for the K20 Pro. And of course, better physics. Now, both CPU and GPU have seen a jump of 45% and 20% each. And these are obviously major numbers, big numbers for any flagship chip. And this, along with the 7 nanometer chipset, means that it's also more power efficient. The CPU is 20% more power efficient than 845 and 30% more power efficient in the GPU side compared to the previous generation. So incredible numbers. What does it all mean? You obviously get incredible performance. If you have to compare performance, so if you look at last year's numbers, so you had the iPhone 10 running the A11, and that was at about 245 in terms of Antutu score. And then, of course, you had the 845, which itself was a great chip. And that you saw with our friends at Poco, the Poco F1, and that obviously beat the iPhone with a healthy margin. So you had 291. Then the new iPhones have a 812 Bionic. It's improved, right? And that clocks at about 356. Any guesses where the K20 is? Go on. It is at 388, making it one of the fastest phones available today. Now, what do you do with all this performance, right? For most of our Mi fans, the very first answer that comes is better gaming. And our thought was, how do we make this gaming even better? So with this, we are introducing the second generation Game Turbo. And this makes a lot of difference. It enhances the overall gameplay by doing Game Turbo on the K20 Pro. And I'll talk about both of these in a bit.